Hello everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to the first real episode of the series, where we'll take a look at perhaps the most important statement of whole SQL, which is the select statement. So the select statement is used when you want to, select some data from a table. So we are here in SQL Developer, and we have, in the previous episode, created a table called people. Here we have the table. You can see that it has some columns. We can click on the table. So here in this view, you'll see the columns that it have, the data types, and to the data types we'll get in the next videos. But what you can also see when you click on the data tab is the data that is inside this table. So for you, it may look a little bit different as I have a bigger font setup so that you can see better. But basically, we have some dummy information about people. So we have 9 people, their date of birth, favorite color, country, years of experience they have, and cost of living. Totally made up. And now let's select some information from this table. So if, let's say, currently focus on selecting the columns. So what if we just out of this whole table want to select, let's say, only name, surname, and date of birth. So what do? We go to our worksheet and we say select, then name, surname, date of birth. And now it's best practice just to start every part of the statement in a new line. And now we say from, and we say a table name, so people. And we click either on the, if you want to run only one statement, on the triangle here, or you just click Ctrl plus Enter and it will run the currently active statement, or you can also run the whole script. Then you will get the results in SQL Developer in this sort of graphical form. So we just run this one statement. And you can see that now we have name, surname, and date of birth. But what if you want to just prepare a report and you don't like the basic column names? What you can do is you can give the columns the so-called aliases. So you do it by going in here and saying select name as, and then let's say first name. You can do the same with surname. So surname as last name, and date of birth. Let's keep it date of birth, or maybe let's do a birth date. And once again, Ctrl plus Enter. And now we can see that the names of the columns here, I don't know how well you can see that, have changed. So basically, right now you can more or less see that it's like speaking English, right? We want to select name as first name, surname as last name, date of birth as birth date, from people. Now a small little information here for you. Some other DBMSs that use more the concept of schemas, which basically group tables together, they would require you to say from schema name dot table name. But as we are on Oracle here, we'll not be using the schemas for now in this tutorial. We'll just using the default one. So here we'll not use schema names. So what if now you wanted to select all the columns? So to select all the columns, I'll remove everything. You can just say select star from people, and Ctrl plus Enter. And now you can see that it has selected all the columns. So you can see all the columns right here on the left hand side and all the columns that we have right here in the results of our query. So it's best practice to avoid using a star, because very rarely you want to select all the columns. Most likely, out of all the columns that a table has, you'll only want to select a number of columns, or only select only given columns that you want. This is why you should usually just select columns by writing their names. And you should avoid using an asterisk, because if you use an asterisk and then save this as query for later, you run it later, it will return something different because somebody may have added or removed some columns from the table, and in this way you will not see it. So If you really want to see everything, of course, select is fine. If you just want to quickly check something, then asterisk, is fine. But you usually should just write the name of the columns that you want to select. So for now, we talked about selecting columns from a table. But what if you wanted to return only selected rows? So for now, we were returning every time all rows. What if, for example, you just wanted to return Penelope here? In this case, let's stay with our asterisk here. We will say select star or select and here a column list from people. And now we will say where. And now we need to select a column to compare. We can use ID. So ID equals 1. And now we run Ctrl plus Enter. And you can see we have returned the first row. Let's select a different column. So here we can see name equals, and now we say Penelope. Ctrl plus Enter. And we have the same row. Okay, let's remove this for now. Let's go back to our example of selecting all data from the table. Let's take a look at country, for example. We say select star from people where country equals, and now Germany. And here we can see that, I forgot to say where. Here we can see that more than one row has a country Germany. Therefore, we would expect that it returns 1, 2, 3 rows to us. So let's say Ctrl plus Enter, and we can see 3 rows selected. Important thing is, if you remember, when I did the selection using the ID column, I just said ID equals 1, and now we say where country equals Germany. This is because Germany is a text field or a text data type. Therefore, you need to use single quotation marks to compare a column to a text value. So here we now once again have all the columns. Let's try to select only some of them, right? So let's say ID, name, surname, and the country, for example. Right? It also works exactly the same way. But now, what if you wanted to select people from Germany or people from the USA? It is, again, just like speaking English, select something from people where country equals Germany or country equals USA. Ctrl plus Enter, and we have people from Germany and we have people from USA. Okay, let's go back to our example right here. And let's once again select everything. Now let's try to make it a little bit more interesting. So let's try to select all people who are from Germany and whose favorite color is green. In this case, once again, we say where favorite color equals green and country equals Germany. In single quotation marks, both the color and country are a text type field. Therefore, we use single quotation marks. Ctrl plus Enter. And now we see that we have two people like this whose favorite color is green and who come from Germany. So once again, let's go back to our old results. And now let's try to combine what we've learned. Let's try to select all people from Germany and people from USA whose favorite color is blue. So what we do is, once again, we say where country equals Germany, and now we need to use parentheses. So here inside the parentheses, this will be evaluated first. It's just like maths, where country equals Germany or country equals USA, and favorite color equals blue. Oops, lowercase. This is case sensitive. We can check that. I can say uppercase blue, and we will not get the one result that is from USA, or the two rows that are from USA. Okay, so now we can see that we have either people from Germany, so these are rows 1, 3, and 5, Or we have people from USA whose favorite color is blue. And this works just like maths. This is evaluated first. If this returns true, then because we have an OR here, so either this has to return a true or this, and then whole where clause for every row is true. That is evaluated for every row because this where clause is evaluated for every row that we have here. Now, we for now took a look at mostly filtering using the text columns. Now let's take a look at how we can filter using a numeric columns. So basically, once again, we go back to our example and we say, for example, where ID more than 4. And we get all the rows where the ID is bigger than 4. We can say lower, we can say lower and equal than 4, we can say more or equal 4. And we every time get the results, right? So here we can also see, or maybe filter using something more interesting. Let's use years of experience. Years experience. Let's say more than, I don't know, 5. Right? And now we will get all the people who have more than 5 years of experience. And we can combine it the same way, right? Select star from people where years of experience more than 5 and cost of living. So, and, oops, can't write. And cost living is more than, let's say, I don't know, 10,000. Right? And we can see that we have nobody like this. Because if I go back here, we have here cost of living 2,500, 3,000, 8,000, 7,500, and 10,000. So if we did end cost living more or equal than 10,000, now we would expect that we get Jenna here. And indeed, we get this one row. So another way you can filter, because let's now say that we wanted to return everyone with IDs 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So we can do this as we did last time, where ID is, say, lower than 5, right? We know that IDs go from 1 to 9, so we can easily do that, right? But they do not necessarily have to behave like this. So what you can also do is you can say ID equals 1, or ID equals 2, or ID equals 3, or ID equals 4. And this also works. However, this is quite a bit of work to type it like this. Therefore, we also have an easier version. What we can do is we can just open parentheses, open close parentheses, go inside them and just say 1, 2, 3, 4. Execute. And this will work where ID, sorry, you have to say where ID in and then open parentheses. And this will return us exactly the same results while being significantly shorter. So we do not have to repeat OR that many times. So what we have covered so far is filtering by text and by numbers. Let's now take a look at dates. And dates are kind of tricky, as in every programming language. Let's say let's try to select everyone born after the 1st of January 2000. We would say where date of birth is bigger than the 1st of January 2000, and 2000 would be 00. Now, this is kind of tricky because you need to know the default format of dates, or you can use function that cast certain formats of dates to functions. We will touch on dates in the further videos because this is kind of tricky, because usually you need to use some kind of function to ensure the proper formatting, and then how do you know that this is the year, the 1st of January 2000 and not the 1st of January 1900, for example. So, but this is how you can filter. You can also say lower, you can also say equals, and this will return nothing. This just works like this, and you have to know that this is the default date format on Oracle. So let's go back here to bigger than the 1st of January 2000. And let's not say that we would like to select everyone who was born after the 1st of January 2000, but does not have 1 year of experience. This is a little bit weird, but what we want to do is we want to say date of birth is bigger than the 1st of January 2000 and years experience is different than 1. And this is basically the not equal to operator. So if we run it, we get only this one row. What we can also do with text columns is we can filter on like. So let's go back to everything here, right? So it may happen that you, for example, do not know somebody's name or somebody's surname, right? Let's say that you only know that somebody's surname starts with a C. Then you can filter using the like operator. So basically what you do, select star from people, where surname, like, and now you do single quotation marks, you do a C, because you know that it starts with C, and then you say percent, and percent basically means any type of text afterwards. And we click and enter, Control plus enter. Now you can see that out of our 9 rows, we get the 2 where the surname starts from C. Or you can have some other information. Let's go back to here. Let's try to filter for somebody who has M inside their surname, right? Totally abstract, but whatever. So we say select from people where surname, like, and now we don't only do a percent sign. So we do an M percent sign afterwards, but we also do a percent sign before. So we say Control plus enter, and this returns to us all the people who have an M inside their surname. One more last thing I'd like to tell you about is something a little bit different. Let's remove the where clause here. Let's see all our results. So let's think about that we would like to select all the favorite colors that we currently do have in our dataset. So what we would do is we would remove the star, and let's for now say only favorite color. And now we have basically a list of all the favorite colors, but we have 9 favorite colors, and we can see that we have some duplicates, right? So green repeats, blue repeats, red repeats, and so on. So what you do to remove all the duplicates from this list is you just say select distinct favorite color from people. Once again, this is just us speaking English. Okay, so this is how you basically would remove the duplicates, and here you can also do a column, a list of tables or of columns. Sorry. So basically, you would do select distinct favorite color, and then let's say country, right? Country, and so this selects you the distinct favorite color country pairs. You can see we have 7 and not 9. So some of the rows were indeed duplicates in these two colors, in these two columns, so they were removed. Okay, so this is it for the select clause. I believe we have covered the most basic uses of the select clause. So basically selecting only the columns you want from a table, selecting all columns, and then only selecting the rows that you want using different methods, right? So we compared numbers, higher, smaller, equals. We compared text, also using the like operator, and then we learned how to remove the duplicates using the distinct clause. So this covers only the very basic uses of the select statement, and we'll definitely get to some more advanced uses of the select statement in the future. But for now, I would like to thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.